Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me today. In today's video I'm going to be talking through using Instagram, starting to write posts and why hashtags are important. So this is just for those of you that are feeling a little bit nervous about using Instagram and are not familiar with how to use it. I'm not an expert by any means, but I just thought it might be useful for me to show you how I use Instagram. So in this first slide, I've taken some screenshots from my phone and I've put them up on here, and I'm hoping this is going to work, and I'm trying to sync my voice to the slides. But in the first slide, you'll see that I've got an arrow pointing to the plus sign at the bottom of the screen there, and this is where you add a post. I'm sure most of you know this, but this is the very first step. So you just click there to add your post to Instagram. On the second page you come to, you'll see that Instagram automatically puts your last photograph into that space, but that's not the one you have to use. You can select them from down below. But if you look at where the arrow's pointing, there are three little icons there. The first one, where the arrow's actually pointing to, is called Boomerang, and you may have seen people use this. It makes a little animated version of your picture. The second one is a little square with lots of segments in it, and this is where you can add different photographs to one square to make up a bit of a montage. The third one is where you can add more than one photograph and swipe across. You'll have come across lots of posts where you can swipe across and see more than one photograph on a post. So you choose one of those little buttons to begin with, and then you choose underneath the photographs from your gallery. So you just click those, and then you will go on to the next screen once you're happy with the ones that you've chosen. On this screen, you do have the option to add a filter to your photograph. Now, if you're trying to sell your artwork, I really wouldn't advise using a filter, because if you're selling something, you want the colours to be true, and you want the person that's maybe thinking of buying your artwork to see it as it is. So if you start adding filters to it, and then they approach you to maybe buy that painting, they're going to be a bit disappointed. So you must try and keep your colours true to your image if you're selling your artwork. But you might like to use these filters when you're uploading pictures of other things. It might be something in your garden or on a walk. Whatever you're uploading, you might want to use these filters. So just have a play with them and look how things look using those. They're quite nice, some of them, but I wouldn't advise that if you're selling your artwork. And then once you've decided on that, you can then click on the next page. I should have said earlier that the most important part of Instagram really is having a good photograph to begin with, because it's so visual. You want it to be a good, clear, crisp photograph. And the good thing nowadays is that smartphones have really good cameras on them, so there's no excuse for putting really poor quality photographs up there. But this is the next most important bit, and that's what you write in here. So you'll see at the top of that slide you've got the space to write in. So some people actually use this as a blog, and you will be surprised that people do really read what you write here. They don't just look at the image. If they are interested in the image, they will click and go on to read what you've written. So if you want to write a little blog to get people more interested in your work and what you're doing, this is a good place to do that. So sometimes I do very brief things, just a couple of sentences, and other times I might go a bit more in depth, but that's where you need to write that. Now, once I've written that, underneath I'll put some hashtags. So for those of you that don't know what a hashtag is, basically it's a way of people finding things. So it works like a search engine. So I'm trying to think of a for instance. They use one called Artists of Instagram. So that's a very popular one to be used. So lots of people are using that. So because lots of people are using that, it'd be easy to get lost in that hashtag. So you would write the little symbol of the hashtag and then the words after it. And don't forget, you have no spaces. So you have a hashtag and then whatever you're writing with absolutely no spaces. And it's not case sensitive, so it can all be lowercase. So underneath your artwork, write hashtags that are relevant to the image that you've put up. If they're not relevant, Instagram's algorithms won't like that. They'll see you as a spammer, because you're trying to get interest in something that isn't what you're doing. So your hashtags should be relevant to the image that you've put up there, but they should be things that people are searching for. I often see people write hashtags about the picture, and it's very personal to them, and it's something that they've maybe even just made up that day. that nobody else is using that hashtag. If nobody else is using it and it isn't something somebody would write in a search engine, it's not going to be found. The whole idea of using hashtags is that your work is found, because people put things in the search and they follow hashtags. So for instance, a lot of my work recently has been landscapes in the Lake District, so I'll put hashtag Lake District landscape or something like that, or I might put hashtag hike the lakes, which is one that quite a few people use. So my work is not just then being seen by other artists, it's being seen by people who enjoy hiking, and they might be people who are potential customers, because if they've hiked that particular mountain, they might want to buy a print of that image. So you need to reach people other than other artists. So just following each other as artists is lovely, because you see each other's work, and that's absolutely great, and you get a lovely feed of all these beautiful things, but it's not reaching customers necessarily. So think very carefully about what hashtags you're using. Look at other artists' hashtags, look at hashtags that other people are using, and click on them and investigate them and see how widely they're being used. Because you can see, so when you start typing in a hashtag, you'll see it pops up suggested things, and those are ones that other people are using. It's not just random, that selection that come up on your phone. It's things that other people are using, and you'll see next to it, it'll say 2,000 or 2 million or 200. Now, if it says 200, it really means nobody's looking for it and nobody else is using it, so don't bother with it. If it says 2,000, that's probably quite good, because it means there's a little bit of a niche there with a few people using it. If it says 2 million, you could use it, and I would still advise using it, but you could get a little bit lost. So if you go for the ones that are in the thousands, you're going to have a bit more of a chance of getting seen. So I'm hoping you will understand what I'm saying there, and we'll go on to the next slide. Actually, one more thing before we do move on to the other slide. You'll see also there it says location and tag people. So location is another good one to use, because if you put location Cumbria or location your hometown, other people in your hometown will see those posts. They will pop up if they're also have got the location switched on the phone and they're looking for things locally. So use the location. It's easy to use. You just start typing in the name of the place where you're at and it'll pop up. So use the location as well. Don't forget about that, because it will help your posts reach more people. And the other thing is to tag people. So if you tag somebody, I often tag people whose products I've used. So I might tag, I don't know, Winsor & Newton or something like that. And then you get seen by a wider audience. And if you're lucky, they might see it and they might comment on it, and then you'll get seen by more people. So the more interaction that you have with your post, the more people are going to see it. Instagram see it as a popular post and they'll put it in front of people on the feeds if it's got a lot of interaction. So the whole thing about social media is you really should be social. Social's the most important part of social media. So if you don't comment and like other people's things and talk to people, and most importantly reply to people who've commented on your things, because you know it's good manners apart from anything else, but you need to be engaging with anybody who engages with you, and it's all about being active. The more active you are, the more your posts are going to be seen. Okay, so this just shows where I've written sort of a little bit of a blog type post on one of my posts, and you'll see the arrow there pointing to all those loads of hashtags that I've put at the bottom. So you can use quite a lot. I think there is a limit on it, but it will tell you when you get to that limit. So because you can use a lot, you may as well just try and think of plenty, but don't use the same ones every time, because again, Instagram then sort of marks you down perhaps as being boring, or perhaps not having interesting content if you're using exactly the same hashtags every time. But like I said before, do check out what other people are using and maybe use some of those. So now you know how to write your own hashtags and where to put them at the bottom of your post. You can also follow hashtags, and this is something I would really recommend. So if you just click on a hashtag at the bottom of somebody else's post or at the bottom of your own post, you will see a screen like this. And at the top, there's that big blue button that says follow, and that means you can follow that hashtag. So you're not just following one person, you're following any post that has that hashtag in it. So your feed will then have all the information, all the pictures that have got that hashtag, and you'll see them every day as they come up. So, and you can actually go on there as well, onto this page that we can see here at the moment, and just have a look at them, and you'll see there's recent and then there's top. So the top ones are the ones that have got most interaction, and it's not just the most likes, it's the most interaction. So that's perhaps, that might be even if somebody's just slowed down on the phone to take an extra few seconds look at your picture compared to somebody else's, that sort of counts as interaction, not just clicking on to say they like it, but also comments and things like that as well. So the top ones are on the left there, and if you click the side on the right, you can get a look at all of them in chronological order there. So this is really handy for some things, like you might have heard recently about the Sky Portrait Artist of the Year. Because of coronavirus, they decided to do this as a weekly thing online, and it was Sky Portrait Artist of the Week, and they had their own hashtag to follow. And if you followed that hashtag, everybody, when they uploaded the work that they'd done that particular week, when they'd finished the portrait, you would see it on your feed. So if you were taking part in it yourself, you would see everybody else's work as well, and it was good to see everybody else's work. So that's a way that you can bring everything together as a group when you want to see each other's work and things, and you want to see people with similar interests, is to follow hashtags, and you'll see, and then that introduces you to new people that you wouldn't normally meet, because if you're just following 20 artists or 200 artists, you're seeing the same work all the time. But you might want to see and learn about new people. So if you follow a hashtag, something might pop up and you might end up getting in contact with somebody that you hadn't previously. So that, I think, concludes everything I wanted to tell you today. I wanted to keep this quite short and simple, but it's perhaps rolled on a little bit longer than I thought. I hope that I've explained myself properly and I've made it quite clear, but if not, do ask in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can and hopefully make things a little bit clearer. And of course, you can just pause this video at any time to have a look at the screens there and see what I mean. But it was mostly for people who didn't understand what a hashtag was. And as long as you have it in your mind that really a hashtag is a search engine, so think of it as a search engine. And if somebody isn't going to be writing that in a search engine to go and look for something, then don't use it. It needs to be something relevant. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. I'll be back again next week with my usual videos. This was a little additional one. I hope you, like I say, I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you again next week. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.